and everybody has put together to make these things work. Just on a very sort of introduction level, the career report obviously is based on the Shadowmatch engine, and the Shadowmatch engine has been built to, in a very clever way, identify the patterns of our behavior and also referred to as our habits. These are probably the most reliable constructs that we have in terms of working with the behavior of an individual as the most sort of a solid foundation for helping that individual to work in a meaningful way and to take the challenges of life in a meaningful way, but also to fit in the environment and to fit in a job and because eventually it's about the way we behave and the patterns that we express in our behaviors that make things work. What I've decided, so about 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 4.5, 5 years ago, is to start with the research to build a career advisory report based on the habits of an individual. And my initial research was a bit frustrating because I had to grapple with a few of the constructs that wasn't comfortable for me in terms of the traditional way of working with career advisory systems like and I don't want to go into that because I don't want to be too critical, but for instance, an interest, specific interest in subjects or activities, it's a very thin end to use that as a career guideline. It can be used and it can be used in a meaningful way, but there are some risks. And obviously every system has a risk and every method has a risk. But I think if we use the behavioral patterns that are embedded in the brain, we work off a very solid sort of a platform to help an individual to design a career that fits those behavioral patterns. The first question is, at what age can we get a reliable result to start with a career coaching process? About 15, 16. Say about grade 7, grade 9, 10, 11, 12 in a high school. Those senior students in high school provide us with very stable results in terms of their habits. And obviously from there onwards, the results are as stable as the younger individuals. The career report has been created and the algorithms want to know what is the age of the individual. So, and there are 3 brackets under the age of 25. These are the young adults. So everybody, they get a career report that is focused on the career challenges in that bracket, and it talks the language of those individuals. If the individuals set the age for between 25 and 35, they get sort of the young adults or the mature adults career report that report then addresses the specific issues of young working adults. And then above the age of 35, the career report takes the age of the individual into consideration, and it addresses then specific issues that people above the age of 35 experience in terms of the design of their careers and their career paths going forward. So what I will do, ladies and gentlemen, is the next hour, I wrote a framework document about how to use the career report in a business, because we were a bit trapped in the idea previously in the early research that the career report will be for helping students and young people to decide on a career. But what I've done is I've built the career report in a way that it can play, and it should actually play, a very important role within a business. So the HR department of a business, or if it's the owner of a business in a small or medium-sized enterprise, can use the career report in a very, very valuable way to build the business by building the careers of the individual. Now, just a bit of a mind shift for me. We cannot build the life and the success of an individual without building the success of a business. These things are partners and they work together. But we cannot not build a business if we don't address the development of the individual. We must, if we want to build a business, we must develop the individuals. So these things are parallel to each other. So it cannot be the one without the other. If I develop individuals, I develop the business. If I want to develop the business, I must develop the individuals. We cannot progress with the development of a business if we do not develop and invest into the people. So now we're going to the technical aspects of the career report within a business and how to use it. Now, I just want to mention something. If you didn't receive the structured document that I wrote, it's about a 2-pager that I wrote on the career application of the career report in business. Please let us know your email address. You can just post it now, and Suzanne and Lizette will make notes. And if you don't get it within the next day, send an email to info@shadowmatch.co.za.com. I think, Suzanne, yeah, .com. And then we will send you that white paper that I wrote in terms of how to use the career report in a business, because it's a very nice summary. So what I will do now, I'm going to share my screen, and then we will go through the technical aspects of the business. Suzanne, I can see you. Is the screen good? Thank you very much. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the first question that we need to answer is, what is a career? And this is something that I will put emphasis on throughout our discussion this afternoon. And that is, what is the difference between a career and a job? And a career and an academic study direction or directive at university, college, or whatever it might be. A career is a progressive and productive journey. I have decided on this definition for a specific reason, ladies and gentlemen, and that is that we must distinguish between a job and a career. The job that I currently do is not my career. It's a building block in my career. And I can explain this further, and I will explain at the end, if we have enough time left. I will tell you a story about to explain the difference between a job and a career. But let's have a look at the definition. A career is a progressive and productive journey. First of all, progressive. The one thing about a career is there must be progress. The moment progress stops, then that position the individual holds become a job. So then it's stagnated. There's no growth. There's no progressive development. There's no additional learning. There's no additional responsibilities. There's no additional span of control if you're in a management position. So the moment it stops, that career has been turned into a job. It's a job that I fulfill and that I do. A career is a progressive activity. There must be progress and it must move forward. There must be learning, additional learning, skills development, theoretical learning, theoretical development, academic work, on-the-job training, and migration, movement forward in either the business or in the industry that the individual finds his career in. The second catchword in the definition is it's a productive journey. A career is for people who are willing to produce. It's a productive activity. And maybe this might sound extremely harsh and extremely sort of strange, but a career is for people who understand production, who understand that I need to produce, I need to create, I need to provide, I need to provide value to my employer, to my customers. There must be a value production side. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's for those people who understand that they are the productive engines of their own success. It's for them that a career really works. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, there are obviously currently in the world many people who are out of a job and who are unemployed, especially in certain areas of the global map. There are huge challenges in terms of employment. But employment starts with an individual who understands the fact that I'm employed to produce. So that is the second catchword in the definition that I have decided on. The third one, ladies and gentlemen, is a career is a journey. A career is not a stagnant, limited to one place, one job, one activity, and one frame of production. It's a journey where the individual must understand that to keep the journey alive, it must be progressive. There must be additional learning and development. To keep the journey alive, there must be an increase in productivity, an increase in efficiency, an increase in value that I have for the production line that I'm in, either be it as an engineer or a medical doctor or a nurse or whatever it might be. There must be, the journey is about an increase in productivity and an increase in my skills and my abilities. So these are the catchwords, ladies and gentlemen, when we look at the definition of a career. Then what I want, and if I ever keep training people in terms of career coaching, is what I see as a very good way of looking into the inner working of a career is that the individual, say it's me, I must understand that my career is a project and I'm the project manager. It's a project of progressive, productive growth. It's a project that works along the principles of a journey. And a journey doesn't mean that we shouldn't see this as a physical journey from point A to B, from one city to the other. But it's a journey in terms of learning, in terms of knowledge, in terms of expertise, expand my knowledge about my subject and increase my capabilities to produce more and to be of a higher value to the economy where I manage my career as a project. So one of the early things that I have realized in my research in terms of understanding careers is that the individual, I must understand that my career is a project and I'm the project manager. And as a project manager, I must use every resource that I can to make my career work for myself, but it can only work for me if it works for the industry and the business and the place where I am the productive or the production engine in terms of creating and delivering value. Now, with that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, this is all good and well, but we need to go to the career report within a business. So this primitive picture that I've selected of the two buildings indicate a business, quite a large business. It doesn't have to be. It can be a small to medium-sized enterprise. It can be a small business. But if we want to use the career report optimally in business, it starts with the recruitment of an individual. We must make it part of the onboarding process. This is the term that's been used to define the process of getting a new employee and making that new employee part of the engine of the business. Especially, ladies and gentlemen, when we recruit people with ambition, this is critical. Because people with career ambitions, I've created in my own mind the word of a careerist. It's somebody that is serious about his or her career. And that career must be, as we have just stated, it must be a progressive, productive journey. If we recruit people that are serious about their careers, people who want to make their careers a success as a progressive journey, and we recruitment in and the recruitment process into the business doesn't help that individual understand the possibilities of a career path in that business, we have started the process with a little bit of a lag. We are one or two steps behind in terms of optimizing the success of that individual. Because, ladies and gentlemen, people that are successful, that successfully manage their careers as a project, they want to know, where am I going with this job? Where will this company take me going into the future? Obviously, ladies and gentlemen, and without being negative about this, sometimes we recruit people into a job where there is no career path. And it's possible. It's possible that we recruit somebody and there's an absence of a career path because the job just is of a nature that progressive growth is not really a possibility in that job. And I don't want to go into some of the jobs because sometimes it just comes too close to us. But let's say, for instance, I recruit somebody to clean the offices and to spring clean everything and sanitize the offices. And the person is a professional office sanitizer. So he's got the qualifications and the credentials to clean the office and sanitize to make it virus free. It's the only one that I have in the business. It's the only one that I recruit, and I cannot expand that expertise into any other part of the business. But then we must be honest, and we must say to the individual, I'm recruiting you as a business and an office sanitizing and cleansing person, and that's it. But in any other jobs, we must have a progressive content to that. So the starting point is when we recruit people that we would like to be successful in the business, we must have an early discussion with them and say to them and discuss with them, where are we going with you and where can you go in the business? So we can make it part of the recruitment process. Then, ladies and gentlemen, once the individual is in the business, where the individual sits in the lower end of the business, in the big picture, then we start with in-business career coaching. So now the career coaching process becomes part of the HR services that must be provided to the individuals and the workforce of a business. And this is an ongoing process. And I have decided to give you the main topics, and I will just quickly go through them. In position agility, ladies and gentlemen, this refers to the work that we do for the individual to stay in the position. You see, there's a small individual and there's a large individual. To take the individual and to increase everything and to grow everything for that individual whilst we keep the person in the same position. Let's say for instance, the person works in operations or in manufacturing as a junior engineer. Then my engagement with this individual for in-position agility is, how do you adapt whilst staying in the position as a junior productions engineer? How do you adapt your approach to your work? How do you shift things around in your working environment in terms of the content that you work with so that you grow in this position to the point where the next move in the business is easier or you are ready for it? So it's an in-position agility career counseling session. You stay in this job now, but we want to progress with you, grow your knowledge and expertise, your skills and your abilities to increase your own production. And within that, let's use the career report to see where should your focus be in terms of growing your career in the job, in the same position that you hold. The next one on the list is in-company career adaptation. This, ladies and gentlemen, says, if this person is in the company, where can I move this individual to in terms of growth opportunities? I might say to this individual, your growth opportunity as we see it is to this position in a different area of the business. So what we have is we can plan and map with the individual by using the career report. And obviously, if once you've seen the career report, you can see the information that it provides. The coaching process is very rich because you can immediately help the individual to co-decide on a career path within the company, so that there is a change of position, a change of work environment, but also a change in the work content for the individual in the progress that they make in the business. Then in career agility, the third one on the list here, in career agility says that this individual has, for some reason, decided that he wants to stay in his career. Let's say, for instance, he's qualified as a financial manager, as a financial administrator, or a chartered accountant. He wants to stay in finance, but he wants to change the focus in finance. Let me give you an example. I work in finance in the back office, but because of my habits, I have a strong need to engage people. So what I do is I shift from finance back office to finance customer service, where I engage customers in a more active and a direct way, so that my need to, within my career, engage people more actively is being fulfilled. So I stay in finance, but there's a shift towards the way in which I am exposed in the working environment, so that exposure is more in line with my habits and what is recommended for me based on my profile of behavioral patterns. Then number 4 on the list for inside the company, ladies and gentlemen, is to use this for the routine career development annual discussions. This is very important to have routine career development discussions. What is your next learning? Let's have a look at your career report. Should you work with people, or should you work with ideas, or with objects? Okay. We see that your focus should be to work with ideas. What can we do to grow your learning about working with the concepts of the business and your working content? There's a focus for the next person maybe on the people side. So how can we grow this part of your experience of your working environment without any changes that is material in terms of your position that you hold? So this is the routine career development discussions that obviously, if we would like to be responsible employers, we must do this, and it must be part of probably minimum, the annual discussions with the people that are employed in the business. Then career restructuring, ladies and gentlemen, in big companies, and this is a bit of an alarm, in big companies, even smaller companies, maybe as many instances in smaller companies, there are highly competent people that come to a point in their careers where they've had enough. They are now fed up. They don't want to work with numbers anymore, or they don't want to work with people issues anymore, or they don't want to face customers anymore every day, or they are now sick of the production plant, or whatever it might be. They just come to a point where they've had enough, and they don't know how to take it further. This is a big challenge, ladies and gentlemen, and a well-positioned HR office must actually let everybody know that if they become frustrated in their jobs, they must come for a discussion in terms of a counseling or a coaching session, because the company can lose that individual, and then they lose a lot of knowledge, because these people are in most instances, they are there for many years, and they've got the feeling that they have stagnated, they can't go any further, and then they resign. And then in the next company, they end up in probably exactly the same position, because the next employer will recruit them with their expertise in an existing position. And then within 2 or 3 months, they are at the same point. And I've seen this in my discussions with many individuals, where they just came to the point where they've had enough. And then they go to the next business. And then within 3 months, they've had enough of that as well. And this is what we call career exposure saturation. It's a technical word that they use to say that the individual has had enough of the work that they've been doing for many years, because it was probably the wrong job for them. So to take the career report and to then say, okay, let's use the test your career ability of the career report. This is where you test the job against the habits of an individual. That is part of the career report capabilities that is available. Let's test your current job against your habits to see what is it exactly that gives you this feeling of I've had enough and I'm just sort of fed up with everything, at work especially. So we can use that, and we can discuss the career report to say, okay, but we see that your career report says that you must work with highly complicated and intricate stuff. Do you experience your work to be that? And then the individual would say, no, I experience my work to be very, very ordinary and easy to do. Then we must make a shift and try to expose the person to what the career report recommends for them to be exposed to, in terms of getting their habits flowing and working and active, so that gives the individual a sense of interest, of progress, of success, and the fact that they can add a higher level of value and production to the business as their employer. So these first 5, ladies and gentlemen, in the paper that I wrote, there are more, but obviously we won't have time to go through all of them. But these are the 5 sort of engagements with the individual that is focused on the individual and the individual's interest, growth, and success. But then there are business realities. For instance, the business goes through a restructuring process. This, ladies and gentlemen, can have very negative vibes and very negative leftovers in the culture of a business if it's not really well managed. If a business restructuring process is not managed properly, the business runs the risk of losing their most competent and skilled people. I can give you a case study where an international company with a footprint in South Africa went into the early phases of restructuring, and they said to their people, we are in a restructuring process, and some of you might lose your jobs. They had 150 people employed, and within 3 months, whilst they were still busy designing the restructuring process, they lost 85 of the 150. Who did they lose? Their best people. They had to shut down. They couldn't save the business. Because the most competent people are the ones that are highly skilled. They are ambitious people. They are probably well qualified. They know the job, and they can find another job. So what they had left over were the ones that they thought of retrenching. And now if they retrench the ones that they thought of retrenching, they had nobody left. And eventually the ones that stayed just couldn't keep the business running, and they had to shut their South African office down. And this was a first-hand experience that I had with a company where a very good friend of mine he was the general manager. And I said to him, but how can you do this? He said, yeah, well, we were stupid, but we are now in shutdown phase. And then during mergers and acquisitions, ladies and gentlemen, this is a breeding ground for people to feel insecure. And once people feel insecure and they feel that they are not on a stable, solid foundation within the business, because what will happen if the new company takes us over? What will the new management do? These questions, if it's not being properly handled, it starts to filter through the corridors of the business and it creates a negative vibe. And then again, the risk that your productivity of the people will take a serious decline, or eventually you will start losing your best people and your most capable people will start to jump ship. And the reason for that is because they can't swim, obviously. Now, within this, ladies and gentlemen, the career report is worth gold. It's absolutely worth gold. To say to the individual, let's start with a discussion process. Let's have a look at your career report and let's have a look at the possible positions that might be available in this process of restructuring that will suit your habits, your career ambitions, and your career path best in order to take you further and to progress the business with you. And this is quite important, but there's another important aspect, ladies and gentlemen, about this. And this is when we start talking about exit coaching, and we'll get to that now. But in the business acquisition, mergers and business restructuring, the career report can play a critical role to keep the energy of the people involved with the business and with their careers, and to provide them with a platform from where they can at least engage with their employer in a meaningful way to design and to decide on the future of their careers within that business. But then, ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the last point, or the last section of our discussion for this hour, and that is exit career coaching. This might be new, ladies and gentlemen, and bear with me if it's new, and because I know it's new for a lot of us, I will spend a bit of time on this just to make it very clear. There is a point, ladies and gentlemen, where people leave the business. This individual here halfway out is a symbol of this person is on his way out for whatever reason. So it is not good to exit people from the business in a negative way. The complexities of this is just too deep and too wide to discuss in this platform, ladies and gentlemen. If you would like to know more about this, you're more than welcome to set up some time with myself or one of our senior consultants at the Shadowmatch office. But the complexities of negative exit out of a business is such that it could create a lot of negative energy inside the existing workforce of a business. And we don't want that. We must do everything we can to prevent negative energy to start to sort of pollute or to infiltrate a workforce of a company. The workforce of a business, ladies and gentlemen, is the most important asset that a business has. So let's have a look at the first one. The first one, ladies and gentlemen, is resignation career coaching. If somebody resigns from a business, obviously they resign for a reason. But to leave that individual with an exit interview that is not focused on trying to determine what went wrong, when did it go wrong, who's cross with whom, which relationship didn't work, when were you promised what that didn't materialize, those discussions are not helpful. The discussion must be focused on the success of that individual in terms of his future career. When somebody leaves office, and I can sit down as the manager or the HR or the senior executive or the CEO of a company with that individual and say, your success going into the future is for me important. And I want to give you a career report. I want you to work with me through it. And I want you to steer your career and to bring your career in line with these very important directives. Because wherever you go, these directives will remain to be important. And I want you to take this into consideration into your future. This, ladies and gentlemen, shows the individual an honest interest in the person and the dignity of the individual. But it also helps us, ladies and gentlemen, to create a very positive vibe and a culture of caring inside the business. And the remaining point on the list of benefits, ladies and gentlemen, is a lot of people come back to previous employers. And they then come back with a very good understanding of who you are and what you stand for. Because this is a principle-driven exit process. In other words, I remain positively interested in the future of the individual, despite the fact that that future is not with us any longer. The second one on the list, ladies and gentlemen, is retrenchment career coaching. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is a big, big, big issue. We are currently in the midst of, well, probably globally, millions of people being retrenched. It's a horrible process. It's an absolutely horrible process. The other day, somebody said to me, but retrenchment is about blood and tears and war. And I was so shocked. I was so shocked. Because if a business runs into financial problems and they have to retrench, and they can provide those retrenchees, those people that are being retrenched, with a solid, proper career coaching session, a career guideline report, and some positive input into the lives of those individuals. Where should you take yourself now with the best opportunity, first of all, to succeed in getting another job, and secondly, to succeed in building a progressive, successful and productive career path. This is something that I think, in terms of retrenchments with dignity and respect for the individual, should not be something that must be negotiated. It's a micro investment for the goodwill of relationships and the future of a business that cannot be overstated. The third on the list of exit career coaching, ladies and gentlemen, is what I have decided to call excluding career coaching. Let's say we recruit somebody to become a statistician at Shadowmatch, and we search for somebody who's got an industrial engineering degree or a degree in stats and mathematics, and the person is well qualified. But for some reason, after 3 or 4 months, we all came to the conclusion that the working environment doesn't work for this individual. There's something just doesn't work well. The individual is frustrated. There's nothing wrong with his knowledge and skills and academic qualifications, but we can sense that this individual is just not happy, and it has an impact on the person's personal life, on relationship, on productivity, on business engagement, etc., etc. Then what the mature manager and HR office should do, ladies and gentlemen, is to sit down with that individual and say, can we help you to find a better place where your skills and your capabilities will obviously bring you the benefits of a successful career, but where the environment is more a fit to your habits and your preferences. Let's have a look at your career report, and then start with a coaching process to help the individual find another job. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the right way of helping people without getting to a point where we need performance management and we need a very complicated performance process and eventually maybe a very costly process for the business. But in a positive way, to say, Christian or whoever it is, I have a feeling that this job just doesn't work for you. Are you willing for us as a company to help you find something better? Let's discuss. Let's have an open discussion and let's make a plan. In places where it has been done, ladies and gentlemen, they could actually salvage the problem. Because of the goodwill that they have purchased with the individual, where they have gained goodwill of the individual, it changed, and they made small changes to the working environment, and it changed the experience of the individual, and everything changed. So this positive approach of, I want to invest in your success, and I have a feeling that your success will not be optimal at this business. Let's work together and make a plan, is what I refer to as an excruiting, like recruit. This is excruit. Help the person to exit in a positive way. And this is a career coaching process in the best interest of the future of the individual. Then, ladies and gentlemen, the last one on the list, there are more applications for the exit coaching in the short paper that I wrote, but this is where we will end the discussion for now. We can no longer retire people at the age of 55, 60, 65. And with the life expectancy of the new world, these individuals can become 100 or 110 years old. There are a few diseases that we need to be able to kill, ladies and gentlemen. Then the life expectancy of healthy people can be well over 100 years. The problem is that our financial models can no longer sustain somebody for that period of time. So if I started working post-university at the age of 23 or 21 or whatever it is, or post-high school, age 19, and I work up to the age of 40, I have worked 40 years. I can, in no way, save enough money to keep my lifestyle up for another 40 years. It's impossible, because I have saved in a phase where things were much cheaper than what it will be during the next 40 years. And ladies and gentlemen, the cost of living of elderly people are on a steep increase. So medical costs, living costs, etc., are on the increase. Now the individual has to live off a retirement package for longer than what they were in a position to produce and to save. It's not sustainable. And we see this problem already in the market developing. So retirement coaching, ladies and gentlemen, is to sit down with the people that retire from a business and to say to them, in all honesty, can you financially survive another 40 years? Did you run your numbers? Are you sure that you are financially in a position to live without an income and without being productive for another 40 years? Because this might be the case. If the answer is no, it is my responsibility as the lifelong employer of the individual to say, let's have a look at your career report. If you want to start an income stream, what will be the best one for you that is most suitable in terms of a fit to your habits? And then start a discussion 2-3 months before retirement and make sure that the individual leaves office with a plan, at least an awareness of the fact that I will probably will have to start generating an additional income over and above my retirement fund. And I have a good idea what this job and this career should be like as the second or the last phase of my productive life. So these are all applications for the career report within the business. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that's the full picture. Obviously, just as a quick recap, we make it part of the recruitment process in business. We have all the coaching opportunities that's been listed in the middle at the bottom, and then exit career coaching, the four pillars that we have. There are more. But ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are interested in more the theoretical stuff, just 5 minutes, maybe 10. There's a critical perspective on career coaching that we must understand. This is such an important part of my learning over the last 5 years, ladies and gentlemen, that I became very critical, and forgive me for that, towards the traditional career counseling and career advisory sessions that people have. The first thing, ladies and gentlemen, a job or a position is not a career. It is a career path enabler or a career building block. I will explain. The job that I currently have is not my career. It can be. There can be a very, very, very tight sort of similarity between my current job and my career, but it's not the same thing. My current job is a building block in my career wall that I'm building. It's a career enabler, because this is where I get a bit frustrated, ladies and gentlemen, when people say, what is my optimal job? Where should I go and work to best suit my habits or my preferences? The job that somebody fulfills now, the job that I'm doing, is not my career. It's a building block. It's a career enabler. It's a portion of my career path. The training, academic studies and learning is also not my career. To help somebody discover that he or she must go and study medicine is not a career directive, ladies and gentlemen. It's a directive on what to study, and that should be in line with my career path going forward. My career path is, I want to be in medicine. What can I do to be in medicine? I can become a nurse. I can become a microbiologist. I can become somebody who specializes in viruses and infections. I can become a medical doctor, but my career is medicine. What I've decided to do to enable that career is I've decided to become a medical doctor, or my career is engineering. What I've decided to enable that career is I've decided to study mining engineering or electronic engineering. So it's an enabler of my career. It's not my career. Working on a career is totally different than to finding a job. A career, ladies and gentlemen, is a journey. I'll give you the explanation. I'll give you 2 very good examples. And then knowing what to do and advice on what to study is not career coaching. It is to help somebody decide on a specific career building block. So my career is, I want to be in politics. What do I need to study? I'm going to study sociology. No. I'm going to study international politics. These are all enablers. They are building blocks in my career, or my careers in medicine, as I said, or my careers. Let me give you an example. My career is in flying. Flying is my career. So where do I start? I start by getting my private pilot's license, then commercial pilot, and then it could change. I could become a trainer. I could become a helicopter pilot. I could become a rescue pilot. The common denominator is my career is to fly. Where I fly and what I fly is not my career. These are building blocks and career enablers. This is the picture that I want to show you, ladies and gentlemen. My career is to build a castle. What I'm doing at the left bottom here is, for now, I'm the bricklayer, but this is not my career. My career is I'm building a castle. My job now on this career path is I'm the bricklayer. Because when I'm done with the bricklaying, my next job will be, I will do the plumbing and the electricity of the castle. That's not my career. To be a plumber or an electrician is not my career. My career is I'm building a castle. And then after that, I will paint the castle. Is my career to be a painter? No. My career is I'm building a castle. So what career coaching and counseling is about, ladies and gentlemen, is to get the picture of the individual clear. I want to build a castle. Then the second step is, where do we start? We start with a course in bricklaying, and then you will become a bricklayer until the brickwork is done. And then we'll train you as an electrician and a plumber, because then you've got to do the plumbing and the electric. And so that the jobs and the skills that I need on my way of fulfilling my career these are building blocks. These are career enablers. My career, my journey is I'm building a castle. Now, ladies and gentlemen, with that obviously in mind, what I want you to understand is that this path, that dotted line arrow is my career. The jobs that I do on the way must align with my career, and they must build my career. And this is the important thing that I want you that I need to understand. I'm going to exit screen and then have a look at my watch. We've got 5 minutes left. I want to share with you a story. It's a real case, ladies and gentlemen. And for the reason of the case study, I will change the name. When I was a minister of religion, I met somebody in sort of a halfway phase of his career. I think he's quite far beyond that now. Well, I know it. But what happened to this young man, let's call him Christo. He left school, and his parents didn't have the money for further academic training. They didn't have it. But he had one thing in mind. He said, I want to manage a business. And his parents said, well, you know what, we don't have the money to send you to university or to college or for further studies. And he said, I have a dream to manage a business. And he started at a car wash depot in a town where I was the minister of religion. Well, it was before that, before I became the minister. It was probably the same. And in the car wash depot, he started washing cars. With a high school final year qualification in South Africa, we refer to this as matric, or he graduated from high school. But he then didn't have he was not, his final year marks didn't allow him university. So he studied part-time, a very junior diploma in business management. A year later, he was promoted from washing the car to become a supervisor. A year later, he was appointed as the car wash depot manager. Now listen carefully, ladies and gentlemen. He was 21 years old at that stage. He built that car wash depot from 300 cars a month that they wash to 900. And he did it within 18 months. And then he got his final year high school results to allow him into university, and he signed up at UNISA for a B admin degree in business management. And somebody said to him, you know, what are you doing? Da, 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 da. And he said, no, I'm a car wash depot manager. And the guy said, I run a grocery shop, and I'm looking for an assistant manager of my grocery shop. And the people in South Africa will know it was one of the big Spar grocery shops in Gauteng, in Johannesburg. And he said, I've got a job for you. I like your way. By that time, he was studying his degree. He signed up as the assistant manager of the Spar. It's a grocery chain in South Africa. He became the manager. He increased the profits of that grocery store with 400% in 4 years. By then he had his degree, and he signed up for an honors degree at UNISA. And at that point, a very good friend of mine recruited him as the general manager of a civil engineering company. Now listen carefully to the building blocks, ladies and gentlemen. He started as a car wash depot manager. Well, actually as a car washer. Then he became a depot manager. Then he became a manager of the grocery store. And then he became the general manager of a civil engineering company. And because of his initiatives as a business manager, he grew that business to the level where they had to find investors to buy heavy machinery to take up the work that he signed up. And then he applied for an MBA degree at the same university. And when he finished his MBA degree, an Australian company in insurance headhunted him as the CEO of a major insurance business in Australia. And that's where I don't have contact with him anymore. But this is the story. What was his career? Business management. That's my career. The fact that I'm at a car wash depot or at a grocery store or at a civil engineering company in business management, these are building blocks. These are stepping stones. These are business career enablers. My career is business management. And now we can have a look at a lot of these examples. My career is to be in the Christian ministry. It could be as a dentist on a church initiative in Africa. It could be as a medical doctor. My career is to be in the ministry. And this is what we must define in career coaching, ladies and gentlemen. We must define that journey, because the way in which the journey is built can only make sense if we align it with a journey. And this is critical for the people that we employ in business, small, medium, or major corporates. We must help the individual define their journey and then start to enable the journey by moving people to the jobs that are mostly in line with the journey that they are on. And this is what the aim of the career report is. You will see the career report is different, ladies and gentlemen. It takes a principled approach. It takes a high-level approach to the individual. It gives specific guidelines in terms of what your journey should be. The way in which that journey is being fulfilled must then become in line with a journey. If my life is to be an engineer, then the jobs must complement, enable, and build that career. If you haven't got the paper that I wrote, please let us know. We will email it to you. It's available. If you want to set up a facilitated session with one of our senior consultants at the office, ladies and gentlemen, or one of our other senior consultants, please let us have an email. We are more than willing to help you get through this groundwork of using the career report in business. If you have any other questions, you are more than welcome to just field them off to us, and we will be more than willing to help you with those questions. With that, back to Suzanne in terms of may there be questions.